Hello, everybody. We're the Final Gaze, and you know what? We are human. And humans, they're not perfect.
We
So
fucked up, you guys. I'm so
we
sorry.
fucked up. We fucked up. So this is just a notification for our listeners and even our viewers. First problem, the first fuck up was my fault. I forgot to hit the record button on the Zoom meeting, so for the first 25-30 minutes, there's going to be no video. And then after that, you'll see our pretty faces talking about Fire in the Sky. And the next fuck up was Toby's fault. So apparently, Toby didn't format the memory card and it filled up at the hour mark of this episode. So for the last 25-30 minutes of the episode, Toby's audio is going to be reduced to just the quality of the Zoom meeting. So
sorry, guys.
Yeah, we apologize. Don't hold it against
You'll
us.
get over it.
Yeah, we promise, we promise that it'll never happen again, and we love all 5 of you. So
Yes, very much.
yeah, but in the meantime, please enjoy the episode of Fire in the Sky.
Or try to. Bye.
Hi, this is Ryan Thomas Johnson of Carnosaur 2, and you are listening to The Final Gaze.
Hello, welcome back to The Final Gaze. My name is Harrison.
And I'm Toby.
Okay, it is the final film of Aliens of August, and we figured we would finish this month with a bang, and we are covering Fire in the Sky. Before Event Horizon fucked me up as a kid, this is the movie that did it first.
Yes, I have very vivid memories of
Yeah.
one particular scene.
And it's pretty funny because honestly, I mean, at least from childhood, this is the first time, because watching this for this podcast episode, it was probably the first time I've ever seen it all the way through, because the only things that I remember as a kid are obviously the abduction scenes. So, and I'm actually really surprised of all the things I forgot about that scene. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we're going to just talk about the plot just a tiny bit. First of all, Fire in the Sky is based on a true story, and it's much more terrifying when you consider that this took place about maybe 2 hours northeast of where we are now. So
I want to visit really bad.
Yeah, I don't know if the town has truly embraced this story, meaning I'm not quite sure they have like a UFO museum or something.
We should just go and annoy people and be like, so, did it happen or did it not happen?
Yeah. See, and I bet there are a lot of people who were there when this actually occurred. So, but yeah, I think everyone knows this story, and even if you don't, you kind of get the gist of it. But up in Snowflake, Arizona, a man is allegedly abducted by aliens, and this film deals with how the witnesses to that abduction deal with, him being kidnapped by aliens, supposedly. So. It is a horror film, but to me it felt more of a drama with alien themes.
I don't think it's a horror film, honestly, after watching it.
I mean, there's only one segment of the movie that puts it on the mantle of being a horror film, and it doesn't last no more than 5 to 8 minutes, I feel. But everything else,
so short. It's drama.
Yeah, total drama.
Honestly, this movie was so boring.
I feel I was invested in it because of what was coming, just because I know that scene's coming. I know we're going to find out this and that and whatnot, but it was a little bit of a crawl to get to that part,
It was a struggle to get through this movie for me. I watched it in 2 parts just because I was like, it's just nonstop talking.
Yeah, and what's hilarious? That's how I felt kind of watching Suspiria. Same logic as before too, because
I don't know. I'm gonna say Suspiria has way more to like delve into than Fire in the Sky.
Yeah, but as far as like it is I think we even said that it is like historical drama with horror elements in our episode, you know. So kind of like this is like a historical drama with alien elements, and it's funny because it's again kind of like how I knew what was coming. You know, just based off the original Suspiria and the remake, I just knew something big was going to be happening at the end. And much like Fire in the Sky, I was watching because I knew that those alien scenes were coming. So I was like, I just got to get through this talking part, the drama part, and then we're going to experience some terror. But that's the kind of like the very thin comparison to Suspiria.
I just don't feel like even the alien parts are worth going through this whole movie. Like the movie itself, I guess for a one-time watch, it's a pretty solidly made movie. Like the acting's really good, it looks good, the story, the hook of the story is compelling, but there's just so much like, are they going to take the lie detector test? Are they not going to do it? Yeah, we're going to do it. No, we're not. Like, I felt like all the focus should have been on Travis more, I think, than Mike.
Yeah.
And his family drama.
And it's funny because, I mean, the beginning of the film sets up Travis in a short amount of time that we only get like a very small gist of who he is. He is adventurous. He's like annoyingly
reckless.
Yeah, reckless.
And lovable.
You know? Yeah. So, and then that's it. And then he's gone for like the next 40 minutes.
Yeah.
50 minutes even. So, but yeah, we kind of jumped ahead a bit, and this is all excellent talk. So let's reel it back in for a second and discuss, when did you first watch this?
I think I watched this maybe early 2000s, if I remember correctly. I've seen it a couple times, but it's been a good decade since the last time I've seen it.
Yeah.
So maybe around 2008-ish.
Oh, okay.
And I remember liking it at the time, but I remember also when I watched it this time, remembering like this is like a lot to get through.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of funny because when it comes down to it, I think that's the one scene that audiences remember the most of this movie. So, I mean, kind of what I said before. The first time I watched this, it was on VHS at home at some point. And honestly, I don't remember anything else of the movie at all. I don't remember like the opening scenes, the parts where they're cutting the wood, all this drama with the lie detector test. I don't remember none of that. The only thing I remember is just that freaky alien part. So I guess that's expected as a kid, because this, I think it was like early.
That's what everyone remembers. I think when they think of the movie, I think everyone thinks that is the movie.
Yeah,
the alien part.
And it's hilarious because, like I said, I thought it lasted longer just on memory alone, but it was pretty not short, but it was brief. But and you know what? I got to be really honest. I have, from childhood, I've never bothered to rewatch this movie until now. So here I am, like 25 years later, and it's like, okay, I can finally get to experience what this, what this movie that terrified me as a kid. And we've seen some shit. We've seen some scary shit in our day, and we've definitely seen scarier shit even recently. This isn't really a horror movie. It's a drama-based movie with an alien abduction,
Yeah, it's a very hard movie to classify. Like science fiction, I guess, like drama, science fiction, horror.
Yeah. But it's funny because it still kind of fits into the criteria of movies that we choose, and that you would find it in the horror section. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. But that's the last time I watched it. I watched it again, and I thought it was a pretty interesting review. I mean, I don't think I found it boring. It was a crawl, but at least the stuff that was happening was interesting enough to for me to not lose focus. So but yeah, no, that's just pretty much my whole story of it. It spans a 25-year gap. So
very nice.
Yeah. Well, do you know what time it is?
I sure do, Harrison.
Cue the music. And now it's time for our favorite part of the podcast, Nerdy Film Score Talk. Nerdy film score talk. I was really, really shocked when I discovered who composed this movie. It's just, whenever I think of this composer, I just don't see, like, Fire in the
Isham,
Sky
right?
music.
Like Mark.
Yeah, Mark Isham. And first of all, I think it's kind of funny because he is a Scientologist. So I guess it makes sense that he did compose this. But I thought it was a pretty interesting choice for this movie. I mean, it's not like he was purposely known for creating music for movies like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his earliest movies were like the original Hitcher with
Really? I actually
with
like
Rutger
that
Hauer.
score.
Yeah, the original Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze.
You know, I've never seen it.
You know what? Neither have I. So we just lost like our one Keanu Reeves fan.
1-star reviews from Keanu Reeves fans and Surfer fans.
Yeah, and surprisingly, he did Cool World with Brad Pitt. You know, the kind
Never
of
seen it.
Yeah, no, neither have I. But I've always noticed that it was kind of like a like an answer to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know, so it's kind of like there's always two. You know, because it's like a mixture of live action and animation.
Yeah.
And then I guess somewhere in there was Fire in the Sky, but then later on I kind of realized that, okay, well, he does kind of have his toe dipped into horror because he did music for Blade, the first Blade movie. I don't know if you saw this or not. I've been wanting to rewatch it lately, but early 2000s movie Crash.
Yes, with Tandy Newton.
Yes. So
I've seen
he
it.
did that score, and I actually really like that score because of its, vocalizations and all that.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's the one thing I remember. And then this is where things got a little interesting. He did the music for The Mist, Frank Darabont's version of The Mist.
Really?
Yeah, and then even more shocking, the Crazies remake. So I'm like, okay.
Which I kind of liked that music.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched that, actually.
You see, those are things I've been wanting to rewatch, actually. So, and I just thought it was just really surprising that I just never knew Mark Isham did Fire in the Sky. That's such a random thing, and and the one I saved the best for last in regards to what music he's done. And it's funny because it's the most filmic, like most film score, like how could you say most like
Cinematic?
music? Yeah, well, not even cinematic, but it's the most like music sounding part of this movie, The Conjuring. He composed the family theme for that movie. You know,
I liked that music.
and it's I don't know. I just thought it was pretty corny because it plays when she is unpossessed and is like she's crying and like all the family memories, and I'm like, this is so corny.
This music is corny.
Oh my god, I have a lot to say about certain parts, but it's just he's all over the place. The Hitcher, Point Break, The Mist, Blade, Conjuring. I'm like, my lord. So that was pretty interesting, kind of delving into his filmography, and I just didn't know how much.
I mean, it's not a bad one.
No.
It just has like a very wide range of work.
Yeah, and I guess recently he's been doing Black Mirror, so good for him.
Very nice career then. Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. But this soundtrack, okay. Well, let's get into it. The first track I want to reference is titled White Mountains, Arizona. And that title just freaks me out because I've willingly just sort of wandered alone in those mountains, in the forest. So I'm like, oh my God.
And then you get on me for wanting to do a Ouija board in a cemetery.
Okay, well, see, the difference is I went for a leisurely stroll. I didn't go for a leisurely stroll to summon demons.
Leisurely stroll, seance.
Oh my gosh, what's the difference?
I live right down the street from a large cemetery that me and Brian plan to go take a walk through at some point.
Oh, you leave those.
He
spirits
won't
alone.
let me take a Ouija board, which I don't think is very fair, but whatever.
It's fair, trust me. It's fair. No Ouija boards at the cemetery, please. But this one, this track, it really sets up like the sound of the movie, like with those drawing strings and the low drone brass, playing before the vehicle shows up, which we'll play for you right now. And then once that vehicle shows up, we get our first action theme, which is referenced later on in the movie. We'll play that right now. I don't know. That's
it's pretty standard early 90s.
Yeah,
action music.
Yeah, that's not really my favorite action cue anyways, but I figured we'd reference it. Yeah. And then we get on to the next track I want to reference, called Travis Walton, and our lead character gets his own theme.
Which I love. I like it when lead characters have a theme.
Oh, I love it when main characters get their own motif, you know?
Now, I don't love Travis Walton's theme
exactly
in this movie.
It sounds like some TV movie score from the 80s. It's really cheesy, but it is very idealistic and innocent, so it's like
it reminds me of like early Amblin movies.
Oh god, yes.
Kind of, you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh. And of course I think our listeners will understand when we play it for you right now. We did not take that from an A&E special. So
no, it even has like it has some wisps of like Super 8.
Yeah.
Just like wonder of being in the forest and we're all happy and look how happy Travis is.
Yeah. Before things just go horribly wrong.
He gets raped by a bunch of aliens.
And the next track I want to reference is called A Fire in the Sky. And this is our most horror-sounding track on the whole score.
And it's the longest, right?
Yeah, God,
it's like 8 minutes.
Yeah. That's pretty short. It's about only like 10, 11 tracks or something. And this is the longest, I feel. But, you know, it totally fits. So we get like groaning vocals, and they're set to off-putting percussion and finally some deep, dark, heavy strings. Punctuated by bellowing brass. This is like Joseph Bishara's like wet dream here, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, Mark Isham definitely can pull the horror card very well, so kudos to him. And then the next track I want to reference is called The Return. The one thing I hated about this score, the one thing I hated, though, just the one single thing, was this track in particular, where we get those stabbing, high-pitched horns, you know? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
The flute thing?
Yeah, it's like a dun 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 dun.
Okay, yes. But no, okay, that's not what I hated. Okay, continue, sorry.
No, that's the one thing that I fucking hated was it just sounds so like not part of this movie. Couldn't those have been switched with strings? You know, I don't know, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Know? But the one thing I did like was the use of percussion.
I don't like I think it plays in the Travis Walton theme, maybe in the Fire in the... No, not that one. Well, okay, it's like the flute. It's like... Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't... I had to listen to it again.
It plays... It's like in part of the happy... It's like the happy Wonder music when he's riding around. There's like a flute part of it that is just so grating and takes me out of it so fast.
Well, then here's what I'll do. I'll find it and I'll reference it right here. So I guess I can hear what you mean by that. I don't think that took me too much out of the movie.
I guess.
As much as these like dun 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 dun.
All in all, I didn't like the score, I'll say.
It was okay. The horror parts were great. Ironically, some of even the action cues are great, but just some moments I'm all like, this should have been like switched with something else or rescored.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
But the next part the next track I want to reference is "Evil Spirits from the Sky," and this is the music that plays during that alien part. So.
And you can tell when you listen to it.
Oh God, yes. So like the first half is like a subtle mix of synthesizers and brass. The second half, it really reminded me of the original Resident Evil 3 soundtrack. I don't know. I guess you had to kind of like
the original Resident Evil 3 movie or a game?
Oh no, game.
Okay,
Game.
I have that on my phone, so yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just I heard that and I'm all like, oh, that sounds familiar.
I always like my favorite is like the save room.
Yeah, always. You can write for hours to that music.
And I have.
Yeah, I love those playlists. Are not even playlists. This whole 1 hour edits of all the same themes.
Me
just
too
back
on
to back.
YouTube.
Yeah,
genius.
But the ending of this track is the most unsettling part, since it's when that long needle heads towards Travis's eye. And it's just as intense as it was in the movie. So, again, this is just Mark Isham showing his horror roots, I guess, Because, the Hitcher's horror, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and, that's it for really the score. I usually never reference, the songs with lyrics part of the soundtrack. But in actuality, I really, really love the end credit song. I really did. I think it perfectly encapsulates what the film feels like sounds like.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to re-listen to it because I really don't remember. I turned the second it ended. I was like, boop, turn off.
Oh man, yeah, and it's funny that you said that. Because I wish this played right as Travis said the aliens didn't like him at the end credit, at the end of the movie. It would have worked as a perfect segue into the end credits, as opposed to the, sorry to say, Mark Isham, as opposed to the ultra corny score. But I don't know. It's just it's like there's an air of mystery around the song, yet it feels like the end of a chapter and the beginning of a new one. It's just the way it sounds, I guess. It's not exactly like happy. It's not. I mean, I guess it could be considered a country song, but it's not like, you know.
So like folk.
Yeah, well, folk.
There are aliens in
I guess.
the sky.
Well, here's
like that.
We'll play it for you right here. And there's a part of the song that kind of feels like, you know, the end of a chapter, beginning of a new one, which we'll play for you right here.
Don't deny our flesh and blood. Don't forsake our sons and daughters.
So,
okay.
And it's called Sons and Daughters. So I don't think they chose it specifically for that title, but regardless, I really liked it. But, you know, I think the general consensus is that I it's not like my I'm not going to be like, oh yes, the Fire in the Sky score, you know. In fact, I was really surprised that I had it in my collection for some reason.
I was not. When I asked you, I was like, why didn't I even ask? Of course he has it.
Yeah, well, I don't even know why. I mean, Fire in the Sky score was just in a folder on my computer. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool, I guess. But yeah, no, it does what it needs to do for the film. I don't think it's actually a great listen by itself. It's not like...
I don't think so.
Yeah. For me, sometimes I find myself skipping ahead to more interesting parts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. This is the first, but I think I liked the tie-in song better than I did the score.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on the film score on your end?
Just that it... Like the part that you can't remember it.
Yeah.
It would take me out of the movie every time that it came in.
The flutes.
The flutes, or I'm probably getting that totally wrong, but I think while I was watching the movie, it was fine. It kind of blended in the background for me. Mm-hmm. But I did notice when they were trying to do that Amblin early Steven Spielberg type music that it just did not work for me. It felt very dated. The movie itself feels dated, but the music definitely is from a specific time.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say Amblin because, you know, who's in this movie but Henry Thomas?
Yes.
But yeah, I guess there's the end of Nerdy Film Score talk.
And there's only 7 tracks, right? Like there's not a whole lot to dive into anyway.
Yeah, 7 to 8 tracks, definitely not a lot. I think, you know, you can count the tracks on your fingers. There you go, Mark Isham. Who would have thought? I didn't think. I was like, I don't know who I expected, but it definitely wasn't Mark Isham.
Who would you want to hear like take a knack at a score for this?
Oh my gosh!
Like it's kind of obvious, but I would definitely want to hear Thomas Newton Howard.
James Newton Howard.
James Newton Howard.
Yeah.
Thomas Newton. That's someone. That's.
It's funny that you say that because you know what my mind went to, and I think it was just because of what we're going to discuss next, but. Maybe Marco Beltrami?
That's so funny because I was going to mention that earlier and I forgot.
Yeah, you know, because what comes to mind is his score for Mimic. So, I mean, definitely not a Scream score, but like a Mimic score.
Yeah.
But of course, he was a few years off of even dreaming of like. Board. Yeah, he wasn't even dreaming about scoring horror movies. So,
no.
I cannot wait for the day that we discuss a Marco Beltrami score.
Yes, it's high time.
Yeah. But all right, let's make the jump to general discussion. So the only reason why I kind of thought Marco Beltrami, and I think we discussed this briefly on the last episode, was while watching this, I could not help but think that, well, the only actor that I knew, there are only 2 actors that I recognized and was familiar with. One obviously being Robert Patrick.
The most recognizable.
Yeah, and only Henry Thomas because of his work on E.T. The other people, I had no idea who they were. The names sounded familiar.
I knew Peter Berg.
Oh,
he's still
yes,
around.
Peter Berg, right. And
But yeah.
yeah, but for the most part, I just couldn't recognize them. Instead, I saw some other familiar actors in these roles. And the one thing, I thought it'd be really fun to start with the perfect recast.
Okay.
You know, I even think we said that Travis...
Rudd.
Yeah, Travis Walton would totally be played by Paul Rudd.
Mm-hmm.
You just... I mean, D.B. Sweeney looks like Paul Rudd. It's scary how much he looks like him.
And I was thinking for Mike, Viggo Mortensen.
Now, ironically, the only character name I remembered was Travis Walton. So I may...
Robert Patrick.
Oh, Robert Patrick. Interesting. Well, you know what's really funny? In my notes, I said, you just can't recast Robert Patrick, you know. If anything, I think he's already great in that role.
I mean, he is great. I think he is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all pretty good.
Yeah. But for the other people, I totally forgot their names. I think that... Okay.
Like Dallas was the piece of shit.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with him then. I
Okay.
think that Dallas would have been perfectly played by Steven Dorff. At least
Young Steven Dorff?
young Steven Dorff from the 90s.
Okay.
Definitely
okay, I can
him.
see that.
Yeah. And the other guy, not the, well, maybe the young one.
The nerdy one?
Maybe the nerdy, like the 17-year-old one. I could be wrong.
Oh.
I could,
17-year-old one. I don't remember who he was.
yeah, that was the young one, Henry Thomas, our E.T. guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I cast him as Scream's Skeet Ulrich.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that was him. And the obvious one, the one with the glasses, the one that's a little bit more level-minded than all the others.
Peter Berg.
Oh, yeah, that's him.
David.
Yeah. Honestly, a early 2000s Patrick Wilson.
Okay. I will say Cillian Murphy.
Interesting. I don't know. Just for me, Cillian Murphy seems so skinny, like just a pencil. You know.
Peter Berg is he was like the skinniest person there.
Was he?
He was like rail thin. I mean, he looked like super, like
Are we talking about the
gaunt
glasses?
face. Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Maybe I guess I'm seeing it weirdly. But
Harrison, you're just not prepared.
I just honestly thought he looked like Patrick Wilson. He really did to me. I don't know if I got Cillian Murphy vibes, but I know because the first time I ever saw Patrick Wilson was in Angels in America, and that's just who I saw in that role.
Well, we'll just have to both remake this movie and then see which
See
cast
which one is
turned out better.
Well,
Both scored by Marco Beltrami.
yes, I'm definitely not hiring Mark Isham. He's too busy with
No.
Black Mirror. But I thought that would be pretty interesting. At least when I was watching this movie, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not seeing these current actors in their role in this character. I'm seeing Skeet Ulrich. I'm seeing Steven Dorff. I'm seeing
That's funny.
Patrick Wilson. And how could you not see Paul Rudd as Travis Walton? It's just the similarity between that actor.
Yeah, that
and,
one's like, yeah,
but it
really on the nose.
But it's funny because I recently rewatched Wet Hot American Summer, so it's got to be that Paul Rudd. Like
That's funny. Yeah,
like
goofy.
H2O Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Curse of Michael Myers. Paul
Yes.
Rudd.
Oh, not H2O. Yeah, Curse of Michael Myers.
You blocked it out like me.
We only had a 4-hour conversation about it.
Can you imagine? Oh my God, having
Alright.
a 4-hour conversation about Fire in the Sky.
Oh my gosh. We'd have to be really hardcore enthusiasts to really get into all the gritty details, but yeah. But yeah, no, I guess I thought that'd be really cool to start off with I guess maybe not now the perfect recast, but a recast.
It's fun. I do like that. We should do this more often.
Yeah, but it's only for this movie. Like all the other movies we watched, it's always been like, okay, well that character is that character. You know, never before have they ever actually looked like other people to be like, yeah, that's Paul
That's
Rudd.
true.
You know, so it's like the first time it's happened for me. Yeah. But all right. So if we are to go, we're just going to continue on to general discussion. So if one day if we do intend to adventure into the area where this just happened, we must go to Sitgreaves National Forest. That's exactly where the movie took place. I want to say they actually shot it on location here, because
It looks like northern Arizona.
yeah, because they could not. I don't know how big the budget was. I neglected to do that, but these look like legitimate locations, legitimate like national forest signs. So.
Yeah, it does. It looks. Yeah, it doesn't look like a set. It doesn't look like a backlot or anything.
Yeah, so that's close to Heber Overgaard. Just keep that for reference. I can't tell you how many times I've driven through that. So, yeah, of course, you got to delve deeper to get into actually like Fire in the Sky was like Fourth Kind's forest. So it's funny because while they're driving to the location, there's a song playing on the radio. Oh, no. It's during their lunch break. There's a song playing on the radio. That song is forever tarnished by The Happening. It's that.
Which song is it?
It's that song like, "Oh, black water, keep on rolling."
Oh, black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling.
Oh God, he sings.
That he sings at those people at the house.
The house.
Oh, black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? See? We're normal.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that at all.
No, I heard it. I'm all like, "Oh, The Happening." No. So whatever classic 70s song that is, it's fucked right now. So I think after that, the abduction scene is pretty.
It was the scene itself was okay. Like
Yeah.
I liked the setup where they're driving and you're seeing the red light through the forest. Right, it was red, right?
Yeah.
And they stop, and I mean, they do the whole. It's not exactly like a UFO. It's not like a saucer shaped. It's like a sphere, which if you we've been reading abduction stories, true life abduction stories. A lot of them describe seeing a sphere. So I kind of liked that.
The effects were great,
It looked cool. I liked when his acting, DB Sweeney, who plays Travis, was really good. Like acting like he was paralyzed basically, and then he gets blown backwards. I mean, he's probably the best actor in this movie as far as showing true terror and trauma.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to reference later on when he returns, is that him being traumatized and the way he's acting. I'm like, oh my goodness, I like that. So yeah, no, the abduction scene's great, and I think that at least, I mean, I'm no expert on the actual story. I'm only. When it comes to the actual story, the TV show Paranormal Witness did an episode on Travis Walton's abduction, and they had they had interviews from the real people to corroborate the story, and then they do live action remakes of that. And at least up to the point of when Travis Walton comes back, this movie does seem to handle at least the authenticity, the reality of that situation very well, because almost everything that happens of him being abducted is what happens based off of his experience told through that documentary that I watched. So, I mean, we got to give it that much credit, is that at least it's telling those parts accurately.
It's telling the events that unfolded very accurately. It's the story behind the events that are unfolding is what is in question. I definitely do think it was pretty loyal to the
testimony.
The testimonies from people about this happened and then this happened, but as far as I think the movie takes the side of Travis. Like the stance that he was taken. I feel like there was never really a question whether or not he was taken or not, which I feel like would have made the movie better if it had been more of a mystery of was he murdered. Yeah,
the film does, I think, at most dips its pinky toe into that theory. They kind of do it without ever actually saying it. It's because I think the characters sort of go through people are looking over the shoulders, looking at them. They're like, did they kill him? You better tell us what actually happened. Stuff like that.
Well, what ruins it, I think, is that they show us immediately that he was taken. if they hadn't shown that one scene, and maybe they started the movie with the men just walking into the bar looking guilty and traumatized, and you don't actually see them racing in their truck or anything like that before, and so that immediate, you're like, they look guilty, they probably murdered him, like, did they or not? And then maybe in the midway point they flash back to like what actually happened. I feel like that would have made the movie a lot more interesting, but they already showed us right away this is what happened, so there's really no mystery building up to the climax.
And I can't help but think if that was a studio thing. It's like, no, man, we need to start this movie with a bang, with the action scene of them racing through the forest. Because, man, they're ripping through forest land, down dirt roads, slamming into trees. It's exciting.
It is exciting. It's, gets the blood pumping for half a second. And then there's like 4 hours of, I'm just so depressed because everyone thinks I didn't kill him. It wasn't me.
No. He was my best friend, But
I miss him too. I mean,
we're not shitting on Robert Patrick's performance. In fact, I think he was my second favorite actor in this movie.
Like I said, I think everyone's pretty good. It's just there's not a lot to work with when, the idea of like, okay, he's missing. Did his best friend do it? The shocked townsfolk, but that you can only do that for so long, and I feel like that is dragged out for most of the movie. Even when he comes back, it seems like they're still questioning what really happened, like whether or not Mike actually did something to him. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's there is definitely a rift that comes between that friendship, which I don't think was all there yet. Like I didn't believe that they were like the best friends they were saying they were.
Yeah, I mean, immediately when you first meet Travis and he goes to Mike's house, he's dating his daughter. He's dating Mike's daughter, right?
Mm-hmm. Sister.
Sisters. Yeah, okay, dating Mike's sister, and immediately Mike's like, "I'm not going to let you marry my sister."
Yeah. So it's like,
aren't you best friends?
Yeah, I'm like, oh great. I mean,
because he basically was like, you're trash, and my sister's better than you, but you can do better than you.
I believe Robert Patrick referred to him as a dreamer. Not really.
Trash.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Dreaming trash.
He's dreaming trash.
But still, that rift is pretty interesting, and I think that I'll discuss that at the end because I have a little interesting thing about that as well.
Okay. And I don't think that there was really any chemistry between the men. It just felt like, why are they together? None of them seemed to get along, and fucking Dallas.
Yeah.
Piece of
Dallas
shit.
in itself was a drifter anyways, so it's not like...
Was he?
Yeah, because they established his character as being someone who just came into town looking for work, and this is the job. And I think that's why that sheriff individual was really on his case, because he's not
the outsider.
Yeah, and plus he had a problem with Travis Walton anyway, so he was obviously a suspect.
And one, they never explain why that is. And also, I just felt like, why would you work this? They make this guy to seem so despicable. Why you would even have him working with you? Why you would, and like, you've seen him fucking around with the chainsaw. Why continue to have this man? I don't know. Like, I so disliked him.
Yeah.
So much, and I knew nothing happened to him, and I was like, please die, please someone get in the car, like.
I feel maybe that was just the intention then. Like, if you hated him, then maybe the actor just did that much of a good job, The direction was there.
He was okay. I also thought he was kind of not that great. Mm-hmm. He just had that, like, I'm an asshole look, and this is my only mode, is to be an asshole and look like this.
Do you think Steven Dorff would have done it better?
I don't know. I think maybe in the 90s he might have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think Steven Dorff's a better actor, so maybe he could have pulled it off.
Maybe. And speaking about that character, I think he had one of the most out there lines. I think maybe unintentionally gay. I'll do my best, Daddy.
He did. I did remember that, and I forgot I was going to mention it too.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well then, that was pretty gay.
No, it's kind of random, but when they're talking about him or like that he's a drifter, someone was like, well, there's them wetbacks who rolled into town the other day. I was like, damn, Arizona red state in the 90s.
Yep. Oh my God. Well, not even. This was, well, when was this? Like,
Oh, it was the 70s.
69? Yeah.
You're right. Okay, I guess they were a bit. I can't think. The movie came out in the 90s. I kept thinking it was more modern than it was. But yeah, I guess they would be. I mean, people are still racist.
I'd say it's fairly accurate.
A bunch of them must have been one of them wetbacks.
The stories I hear coming out of Payson even today, it corroborates that a smaller town like Snowflake would be, well,
Bunch of snowflakes.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's just a random moment that maybe it was intentional. I don't know. But they could have cut it. It didn't need to be in there. But there's the Mr. Rogers joke.
Yes.
I was like,
oh yeah. To Mike, right?
Yeah, to Mike Rogers. So it's like
when the news reporter comes to the motel.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, wah. Didn't land.
It didn't land, and I'm like, what a shitty thing to say to someone who's obviously like been through something traumatic, like something's going on in his like, I almost got you, Mr. Rogers.
I mean, I guess it's like
to break the
an
ice.
Attempted ice break. Yeah, but it's like it did not work. Mike Rogers is a very serious man.
That was cringeworthy. I'm trying to think of. I felt like everyone was just jerks.
Yeah.
Like Mike's wife, terrible. Like their marriage was on the outs already. Like this whole event ruined their marriage, but I'm like, it wasn't going anywhere to begin with.
Yeah. And I think that was set up pretty early on though, so that like paid off, they were obviously going to split, and this was who would have thought an alien abduction is what did the job.
Well, I mean, the wife was just like, where's the fucking money? Why aren't you working? And he, his best friend's missing. He might have murdered him. And so, like, there's a scene where she was, like, very accusing, like, where is he? Why can't you just tell us? Mm-hmm. And he basically is like, do you think I murdered him? And she's like, well, the boot fits. And I'm thinking, like, okay, if you suspect this man in front of you, but when you're in a room with a closed door, is a murderer, I would not be like, also, where's the money? And why aren't you working? And blah, 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 blah.
It's funny. I just watched Dewey Cox, the Walk Hard movie. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of reminded me of his second wife, Pam from The Office.
Yes.
Where she's all like, oh, I do believe in you. I just know you're going to fail.
Yes, exactly.
So it's just like
she was that character.
She is that character, yeah.
I love you, but not really.
Oh God! And
then like it's like her introduction scene when she's screaming at Mike, like they're yelling, and then the kids come in, and she's like, "Oh, nothing, and everything's fine. You didn't hear one word. Just get out." And she slams the door, and she's like, "You fucking piece of shit."
So yeah, that character. She is that character. I mean, I don't know. I guess. Going off of real life, of course, the real Mike Rogers and his wife did split like after this. So
yeah, I just thought it would have been funny if like when they're in that town hall meeting and she's in the crowd and everyone's like, he's like, "Do you guys think we're all neighbors? We grew up together. How could you do this? You really think I murdered him?" I could just see her being like, "He did it," and just like look around like.
Which I'm glad that didn't happen because I mean. This scene here earns its place in the drama section of a blockbuster.
Yes.
It's really dramatic. It's really like, hey, I'm acting. I'm going for my Golden Globe or my, I don't think an Academy Award, but definitely a Golden Globe maybe, But I mean, when you I think it's a pretty powerful scene. I think it's only being carried on the shoulders of Robert Patrick at that point.
He is so good.
Yeah.
He's very good. And he's not far off from The Stand, right? Around this time?
Shit, was he in The Stand?
He was in The Stand,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. I'm sorry. The only kind of movie I base him off of is Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen The Stand all the way through, so I couldn't say.
You should watch it. And they're remaking it, so.
Yeah. Isn't it being done by... Who's it being done by? Is it Andy? Andy Muschietti?
It's going to be another TV movie.
But I thought it was Andy. I thought it was Andy.
It
Muschietti.
might be. I mean, it would make sense with it.
Yeah. What's he doing? I know he's
I
doing...
know it has a good cast.
Yeah. What's Andy doing? Oh, he's doing the Flash movie. He's not going to have time for The Stand.
No, lucky him.
Yeah. Which, by the way, did you see that Snyder Cut trailer?
No, not yet. I have to watch that, and I have to watch the Wonder Woman trailer.
Oh, yes. Well, I think you'll love both of them. Really excited for both. And
I'm excited for Wonder Woman.
I'm really excited for... I mean, it'll never happen, but they're releasing the Snyder Cut of Justice League in the actual IMAX format. And I really wish that would have been experienced in an IMAX theater because it would have taken up the whole screen.
When
like
is
the
it
Dark
coming
Knight.
out?
They just keep saying 2021.
Okay.
No one knows what quarter. It just, all the trailers say 2021.
Damn.
Yeah, so whatever. So I think the next big sequence is like the lie detector sequence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which I mean, kind of like similar to The Fourth Kind. I think this is like the most like engaging, dramatic part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know the way it intercuts between all the people being asked the same questions and whatnot. You know, it's intriguing. It's engaging enough. It's still one of those scenes that would be pretty exciting for just like a, as I like to say, a talkie movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's just like every time they come back to Dallas, he's like, I didn't do anything. Wink, wink.
No, seriously, like, I'll never tell.
Murder? Never heard of him.
So it's like, I don't know. He just did his best to come off as a huge asshole, but I guess still accurate to the actual events because the only like test that came out inconclusive was his. So.
Yeah, but like wasn't like there's all this talk of them holding their breath. Well, first off, a lie detector test is not like the end all be all of figuring out if someone's lying anymore. Like that can be faked pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
You basically just have to, you know, if someone has a lot of anxiety already, like someone is naturally fidgety and stuff, they're gonna fail. Like no matter what, even if they're telling the truth, they're gonna fail. Someone who can calm themselves and remain chill will pass. Like it's super. People who hold their breath can pass because it fucks up the machine.
Yeah.
So, and I was reading somewhere that possibly a couple of those men were holding their breath during the testing. And we'll find out later that Travis, the real Travis, went back and had a retest years later. Mm-hmm. And I think did you read about what happened there?
I did not. I think they referenced that in the Paranormal Witness episode, but what happened?
He failed.
He failed. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. He failed. Oh no, didn't they all retake it and they all failed, or something like that?
I think the only thing I remember, at least from I feel horrible. I'm going off of like a TV show that recreated these events with the people. But the last thing I remember saying was like the documentary did a great job of having the character of Dallas, him being always inconclusive. The thing I remember them mentioning is that he went back and he passed the test. You know, no lies. So, but
because he was working with the aliens.
Oh, that's why he's being such a dick.
He's like, definitely wasn't aliens. He's like shoving his antenna like back into his. He's like zipping himself back into the human suit.
Oh, I'm just imagining that Michael Jackson suit from Scary Movie 3. But
I am your daughter.
Yeah, I guess the next thing we should jump onto is, well, you know, in the film and of course in real life, Travis Walton does suddenly make a reappearance, and this is where I want to talk about D.B. Sweeney's performance. I mean, him screaming when he's found naked. Damn.
Looking fine.
Looking fine. Yeah, I like how we looked at two different things there.
But yes, his screams.
Yeah, his performance is really good. Like, I'm not buying that it's just someone who's like catatonic and freaking out. Like, this guy legitimately looks like traumatized, shaking.
Some shit went down.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if, because I don't know if we'd ever be able to determine whether he did some planning. You know, he did some method acting,
like
for
research.
This. Yeah, like I'm kind of thinking that not that it's like on par with his performance, but the guy that fucked that girl with a knife in Seven.
Seven?
Yeah, you know.
I hate that.
Leland Orser, that's his name. You know, I like
Mm-hmm.
how in that movie he purposely kept himself awake for like 3 days before shooting that scene so he can really get into that, you know.
That dude's always great at acting like fucking freaked out. Like, remember he's in Alien Resurrection?
Yeah.
What is it? What's inside of me?
Yeah, man, he goes all out, even on Alien Resurrection, which,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
well,
also in the X-Files, right? Doesn't he play
I have not seen.
kind of a recurring role in the X-Files at some point?
I wouldn't know to be. I haven't. That's a series I haven't seen at all.
You need to watch the X-Files.
It's on the list. It's on the list.
It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh yeah, I always see it there. But you know, one thing I wanted to ask is, you know, when they go into that little that bathroom and there's that moment where he puts his hand on the window. Okay, so were those fingertips on the window from the outside?
Yes, they were.
So was that like playing on the fact that there was like a alien there? Like
That's how I always took
Yeah.
it, and I forgot about that scene. But when I watched it this time, I was finding like, ooh, chills. Like, that was spooky. That's what I'm taking it to be. It could just be that the rain just fell funny in that specific spot, and it reminded him of the alien fingers. But I like to take it and kind of took it that alien was there.
Yeah.
Like they dropped him off in that bathroom area, and the alien just stayed to see what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, because it looks like the fingerprints are from the outside. They're not matching up on the
They're big.
inside at all. Yeah.
Yeah, they're from the outside, I think.
So it's like spooky.
Well, and there's like a sting of kind of spooky music, isn't there?
Yeah.
As
So-
the camera's moving away,
Yeah. So I'm totally buying that it was like the alien was just like, I don't
watching
know,
in this whole
watching in.
conversation go on while it's.
Yeah.
I like that idea as well. This whole the news reporter and whatever the UFOologist, you know, that they were coming trying to interview him and stuff. I'd like to think that.
No, I just think that was like the worst person to call to.
What a piece of shit, and
Yeah.
like the last person Mike should have called, but whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
But I like to think that while all that's happening, the alien is outside in the dark, just like watching. How spooky!
That's why I'm really hoping that that's what that scene represented, was that the alien is still watching. You know.
That's what I'm going to take it as.
No. But it's really funny that when we talked about the music, you said like flute music. When the next scene played, when he's being wheeled through on the hospital bed, am I crazy, or didn't you get like Jurassic Park opening scene flute music there?
Was there flute music in the opening scene of Jurassic Park?
Yeah, you know, when the title comes up, it's like, oh, I can't even do it right.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're right.
you know what I'm talking about? Well, not maybe flute, but like a pan flute, maybe it sounded like.
Pan flute, and pan flute is what I'm hearing in the other parts, but it's like a happy pan flute.
Interesting. God, okay.
That's
well,
exactly
I'm gonna
what that is.
I'm going to need to re-listen to that then. But
Okay.
like, I heard it, I'm all like, huh. That sounds...
And that's probably exactly what that was.
Oh, God, did Steven Spielberg use the Fire in the Sky film score as a temp score?
I hope not. I
No,
think he would know
doubt
better.
it. He would know better. So, the one thing on these next scenes when he's like in the hospital and like really like freaking out and just, you know, going through it, you know. I mean, personally for me, it was just so horrible to see Travis go from this young idealistic man to like a traumatized victim. So
It was really sad, yeah.
yeah, that process, you know, the way we saw him in the opening scene and the way we see him when he comes back, it's like, whoa.
And keeping the scars around his eye, like, I really like that detail. It changed the shape of his face and it just made him look like it just really added to his performance of someone who has gone through a horrific event and has now emotional scars, mental scars, and actual physical scars on his body.
It's a physical transformation, man, and I guess now's the time to jump into that scene.
Let's do it.
The whole alien abduction scene, the whole just the escape, the experimentation. Let's get into it.
This scene is every bit as good as it was back in the day. Like, whatever I feel about the actual movie as a whole or what people might think about it, this scene I think holds up
It does.
perfectly. Like, it is just as chilling today.
Now, the one thing that I noticed was I loved the design of that barrier or whatever he was encased in. It was like organic technology, like circuits and organic matter.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a cocoon
Yeah.
type. It was like fleshy material. Everything just seemed very fleshy and
Yeah. Very
soft.
I think they wanted to go like with like the organic technology thing, but didn't want to delve too much into like. Forgive me, I'm probably going to say his last name wrong, but H.R. Giger.
Giger, yeah.
Oh, is it Giger?
Giger.
You know, they probably didn't want to go too like that far into it, but you know,
It was
they
like Giger, but in flesh tones.
yeah, yes. But at this point, like the moment he's all floating around and losing, you know, just kind of floating around in zero gravity. At this point, this is when I forgot so much of this movie. Like his hands going into the guts of that other guy.
That was gross. Although that looked like such a puppet.
It did, but like
And
forgetting that.
I was trying to like see exactly what happened to him. Like, was he cut in half or did he just rot? Like, rot
yeah.
in that place.
It looks like he was rotting, but he was still alive,
He was like,
which I think is terrifying.
was he alive still?
Yeah, because he was like, oh.
Oh, I thought that was him. I thought that was Travis.
I don't know. I just saw the head kind of moving with his mouth open. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it, but it definitely caught me off guard because for something so like terrifying, I totally forgot that it happened. So when I experienced it, I was like, whoa.
It looked like, I don't know. It looked like he was decomposing into the cocoon or whatever, but you definitely saw guts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was pretty terrifying, and I wanted, it leaves you wondering what happened to that guy.
Yeah, like it's really, it was unexpected. It was really, really unexpected on my end because I forgot, you know?
Yeah.
But then obviously getting to the parts that I do remember, I did love how like that typical gray alien look was actually a spacesuit.
Oh my God, yes. I'm glad you brought that up. I love that detail.
Yeah.
So much. It's just so smart and different and kind of clever, and it's a detail they didn't have to put in there.
No.
Like, they could have had anything in that room and you would have, but just that little detail of this is why they don't actually look like this. It's just we're seeing their suit. It's very Alien, the engineers, and
yeah, that's
space jockey.
Because like, of course, back then we didn't know it was like a mask, but like in for the Prometheus, they take it off and obviously, oh, it's a mask,
Yeah.
So
I mean,
thought
these
that was really
fuckers are so
interesting.
scary and still look like the Greys, but I mean,
God.
they don't have the triangle head and the wonky eyes.
I would like for them to wear the gray suit now because the way these aliens.
So scary. Would not want
fuck.
to wake up with that. Like that. This is the kind of gray that freaks me out. Exactly
Yeah.
this.
And it's really funny because, I'll take like science aliens over these fuckers, man.
Well, these ones, like the science aliens, are scary because they don't seem super smart. Like they seem way more
Just a soldier following orders.
soldier, or like they're just evil. Like they're just there to cause harm. There's no like intelligence or anything. Where these people or these aliens are obviously very intelligent and are studying and are very cold, and it's scary because I feel like they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and you've seen the extent of their experimentations with that guy up there.
Yes, exactly. And to them, they're going about it just like surgeons would be in an operating room, just very standard. They have no care or any, they barely notice himself. They're just into their task, where he's screaming at something and they have they don't give a fuck about this person that they're causing extreme pain to.
Yeah, and like even like not even for 1 second, because not that I was like purposely looking like, oh well, that's a puppet, but like the movements that they make are very realistic, meaning that I know that it's like an animatronic, but the way that they're filming it, the way that it's filmed, the way that they're animated, the way that not animated, but like the way they're moved by the puppeteers, I didn't question at all like this is not real. Like I see them. I see a fucking alien and they're fucking scary.
Yeah, I felt like it reminded me like a bunch of old men.
Yeah.
Old crotchety men just like shuffling around.
Yeah.
Heebie-jeebies.
Heebie-jeebies, like no other, man. And but the experimentation, that's the only part I seem to remember as a kid. All of that stuff they're doing, they're wrapping him in plastic or what have
I
you.
like that too.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like they put the sheet or something on him, and then the mist, like the water, is what hardens it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also is a very cool addition to add.
Yeah. And then just like, I think like The Exorcist, I think for a lot of people the most terrifying scenes weren't like the demonic possession scenes, it was like the medical scenes.
Yeah.
For this here, we don't know what the hell they're doing or what this goo is or
What's the point of
yeah. And again, it's like because we don't know, it is terrifying. And I think this kind of this mindset I'm going to go to kind of falls back into the alien abduction episode where it's like to a human, oh my god, it hurts. They're doing something. But then in actuality, oh, we're just giving you a typical physical.
They just cured him of cancer that he didn't know that he had.
See, how do we not know that? So, but
They're like, he's screaming, he's in pain. Quick, do something to hold him still. It'll calm him down.
yeah.
Pressure, just like dogs. I read somewhere that a pressure suit helps humans calm down. Calm down, okay. Put it over his face. It'll calm him.
See, they probably watched some balloon fetish video where they just get encapsulated in giant bags and
Yeah,
suck
and
the air out.
they're just like, this is what
This
the
is what
humans
humans like. But I think because we don't know what they're doing is, well, it's not even because we don't know what they're doing. It's shot in a way that is fucking terrifying, and
You're seeing it from his point of view for the most of the time.
yeah,
Like looking over him and just like analyzing him.
and it's so effective because 25 years later, it's what I remember. It's the imagery that stuck with me watching this as a kid. So
And it's definitely like a reward for sticking through the movie. Like I think if this is the first time you're watching the movie and you don't, especially if you don't know anything about it, it'll be a even like bigger impact because it has been such a slow movie, and it's kind of jarring if you don't know that this is like an actual alien story. The whole movie, like we're saying, is a drama. Really, you kind of forget that, or you might not even know that it's going to take this turn into something so terrifying. And so when it does happen, finally, I feel like as a first-time watcher, it is very rewarding. I will say that although the scene is amazing, I don't think it's worth watching the 2 hours before it to get to it.
yeah, at this point, you might as well look it up on YouTube.
Just look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's less than 10 minutes. It's like 8 minutes long.
Yeah. Well, the tracks on the sound is like 7 minutes, so there you go. 7 minutes long.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
In a movie.
Again, this movie has a very nice blend of scene, like the church scene
Mm-hmm.
earned its spot in the drama section. This scene earned its spot in the horror section.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. But aside from that, I mean, it's funny that we say drama because I think that this scene further proves that it was meant to be a drama with an alien abduction.
Yeah.
Because I think in the end, the point of this story was forgiveness. In some weird way, it was about forgiveness. Because 2 years after the abduction, Travis Walton reconnects with Mike Rogers, and it is done in such like a manly way where they're saying I'm sorry without saying I'm sorry, because they go back to the abduction site, and I think Mike, or not Mike Rogers, Travis Walton does actually apologize for running out of the truck to the craft,
idiot.
yeah. So, and it's like, oh, okay. And then, they kind of drive back, the potential to rebuild a friendship is there. So it's like, okay, it's a very aw moment. So, and in the end, I think that's like what the story was building up to was forgiveness. Did it earn it though? I do not think so. And that's only because we're not given enough time to not only get to know the characters of Mike and Travis, and we're not given enough time to have that friendship build up. Because as far as we're concerned, Mike is in a broken marriage, and Travis is a free-spirited, reckless douche.
Yes. Yeah, like if say they had just more maybe flashbacks to memories of like that Mike's having of Travis that kind of solidifies how close they are as act. But I never got that
Yeah.
these were best friends and suddenly this man has lost like someone super close to him. It more felt like, oh fuck, this guy just a crew member disappeared and now he's might be in trouble. It's like the
Yeah.
feeling you get over an emotional like, oh man, the love of his life is gone, his brother is dead. I didn't feel any of that kind of tragedy from that situation.
Because we see scenes from Robert Patrick like, oh, yeah, I miss my friend. He was my friend too. And then all the time I'm thinking, yeah, right, killer.
Yeah,
You know?
you fucking murderer.
You fucking liar, so I'm just like, yeah. But yeah, and then again, I will say this until for as long as I need to. The movie ends with such a beautiful end credit song, so.
Well, that's really all I got to say.
Yeah. Should we jump into behind the scenes?
Let's do it.
So first off, much like me discovering that Mark Isham did the score for this movie, I was absolutely astounded that Bill Pope was the DP of this film. Like, what the hell? It's great. Bill Pope. He shot the Matrix trilogy, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Really? Why didn't you get any of that in this movie?
No, exactly. I was thinking, what the hell? Bill Pope shot this? Crazy. And of course, we can't forget that he did Team America: World Police.
Oh man, it's been a long. I only saw that one. I saw that once when it came on like DVD or something.
Oh my god, that was the best theatrical experience with like a large group of people. The best, like it was amazing. But yeah, no, I was just really surprised that Bill Pope did this movie. I'm like, geez, seeing him in the beginning, that was interesting because I think either before or after this he would go on to do The Quick and the Dead with Sam Raimi. So whatever. But the film is actually based on the book, The Walton Experience by Travis Walton.
Which they renamed Fire in the Sky when the movie came out to tie in with it.
Which I thought was like, well, of course you would, Hollywood.
It's such a better title than the Travis Walton Experience.
Yeah. I mean, I really wish, well, not that I don't wish. I mean, Fire in the Sky is great. And I just, for some reason, liked that the track name was called A Fire in the Sky. I don't know. I
like that too. If it was called A Fire in the Sky,
yeah,
cool too.
But Fire in the Sky, I guess, is good. It's great. Obviously, it's very iconic at this point because I think, as we said before, this is like probably the most well-known Alien movie. I mean, at a time it was, because like I don't know, before this, what do we have? Like 50s, really cheesy, like War of the Worlds from the 50s and all that jazz,
Ooh.
Yeah, but like
yeah, phone music, that old sci-fi.
Yeah, and we had like Alien, but that was like way more like out there sci-fi futuristic. This is like really set on Earth as a realistic thing,
Yeah.
So, and oh yeah, and in my experience, like in my research, and of course I know that a lot of stuff would have to be changed from real life to the film, but there were actually 7 men on the real logging crew, not just 6. So I thought that was like
too many. Would have been too many to.
Yeah, there were 2 assholes, for all I know.
Honestly, if they were gonna lessen, if it went from 7 to 4, I would have kept it Mike, Dallas, and Travis, and Travis goes missing, and just the 2, because the other men are nothing characters. Like they're barely there. One of them like has one line in the whole movie. I feel like if they had slimmed that down, and it would have given more chance to build the relationship between Travis and Mike.
Yeah.
Instead, there's this all this like filler space with these 2 characters who mean nothing to this actual story.
Yeah. If anything, there's like, well, we have to like not change it too much, so we should have these 2 characters there at least,
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So, but I thought that was. I mean, of course, I think the biggest change is that the film took some creative liberties with the alien sequences.
Very creative.
Which these executives, man, they're assholes in them themselves too. As they said, they found Travis Walton's account boring
And I agree.
and insisted on the changes. So, I mean, this is the part where I'm all like, oh, well, you should probably be very faithful to like the actual real story. However, part of me thinking, well, then if it was, then we wouldn't get these memorable scenes.
I think they were spot on because the movie is fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if the alien abduction scene was as he describes it, like the actual version, quote unquote, the movie wouldn't even be worth watching all the way through. Like it wouldn't have this satisfying punch that you get with this super vicious, scary alien scene, because the way he described it was not very terrifying.
Yeah, it was almost like he was like sneaking around a spaceship and like knocking some aliens out with some like stuff, you know. I'm like, okay, that sounds very.
But there was no like terrifying strap him to
No.
the operating table and drill into him and stuff. So
Yeah, so that's why I'm like split. I'm like, okay, you got to be accurate, but also we would have lost what made this movie great. So
I mean, if you want to be accurate, then just do a documentary on it.
yeah,
You know, the point of making a movie, I think, if you're going to make a movie and change other stuff, I don't blame them for wanting to have something more Hollywood.
yeah, this movie definitely got like Hollywoodized hardcore. So
And it was pretty well liked, right, when it came out.
you know, I didn't really look into that. I just know that it's definitely like a iconic movie now. It's it's
well
definitely
regarded.
up there. It's well regarded. It's not like it's not, well, first of all, it's not really a bad movie at all, you know.
It's not a bad movie. So, I mean, I'm saying boring as in I've seen the movie already, and just for me, it was just kind of like, I just wanted to get to the alien scene. I think if you're someone, especially if you're not a horror fan, you're probably going to really like the movie. It's a solid movie. It just, for me, when I say boring, I don't mean bad. It's just like, what movie is boring, but also amazing? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you thought Suspiria was boring the first time you saw it, so it can still be good movies, but
Well, boring. Again, boring is a pretty strong word for Suspiria. For me, it was. I hate to say boring because it's not. I don't think it is now. But going back to the first time I watched it, I think I described it as being like a historical drama. It was boring in that sense, kind of like how, oh yay,
you're
we're
learning something.
yeah, it's like, oh, we're watching a movie in class today. Oh, it's a boring documentary. But we're
Yeah.
still watching something, you know, kind of like that.
For me, is boring in a way that's like, I just had on the tip of my tongue, whatever.
No, I understand where you're coming from, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but did you know that the real Travis Walton and Dana Walton made cameos in the movie?
I did not. Who did they play?
They were in the church sequence. They were in the townspeople group.
Really?
Yeah, so I haven't gone back to look at them where they are specifically, but trivia says that the real Travis Walton and his wife is in the movie, in the church sequence.
And I heard he didn't like the movie.
Oh, did you now? I guess that
I
makes
read
sense.
somewhere that he didn't really care. He thought it was a well-made movie, but he didn't care for the story.
See, no, I think that's interesting. I think it's only because he may have a personal grudge that they had to alter his story. You know?
Probably.
Yeah, which I understand.
And, I mean, should we just get to it? Do you believe him at all?
Do I believe him? Damn. Okay. Well, couple things first. First one being, I think the only reason why this movie was not necessarily on replay, but it was a movie that my parents watched all the time, was because I have family that live in the White Mountains, you know? And because I have family that live in the White Mountains, much like we did with the Huffman, you always grew up with stories of strange shit happening in that area. I mean, already, that place is a hotspot for supernatural activity. The amount of shit I've heard, nay, even experienced there, kind of gives this movie like, well, if that's happening, then why wouldn't have this? You know, definitely a lot of traditional stories that revolve around people from the sky. You know, a lot of people that I know has seen a UFO in the area. So it's like, why wouldn't have this have happened? You know, and it's not like, you know, I mean, we're going through the deep history of alien abductions anyways. It's not like these are things that haven't happened, you know? This is just the one that got made, that had got the movie, you know?
There are just certain things that aren't told, especially in the movie, but aren't always touched upon when the people are covering this particular. They're all covering on his story, but they always fail to mention, as the movie might have had one little line, but was not explored, is that Mike and Travis. So Travis was working for Mike. Mike had a contract to cut down that forest, basically to complete this project. He had a specific amount of months to do so, and it was he would have gotten or a lot of money for it, or would have been fined a huge sum of money if he didn't complete it. And right before this happened, at the time this was happening, he was not going to meet his deadline at all. And in the contract, the only thing that would keep him from being fined or would get him out was an act of God. So you can't control the weather. You can't exactly make an earthquake happen. And Mike and Travis were huge UFO fans. They were already very much into UFO activity and obsessed with abduction stories and things like that from way before any of this happened. And that's coming from like people in the town and people who knew them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you kind of put two together, as well as like, well, if they're in danger, the money thing that the wife was complaining about was an actual issue for Mike. So if it's like he's working on a project, they're not going to finish it. The only thing in the contract that could save them from, going bankrupt basically is an act of God. Two men from bumfuck nowhere who are obsessed with UFOs, like.
It's pretty funny now that you say that. For some reason this morning I watched like maybe 4 or 5 episodes of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And whenever they they capture the bad guy, and they always kind of spill the evil plot out. One of them is always like, and so used the local legend of this to get away with that. And I'm thinking, did Mike Rogers and Travis Walton use the folk tales of the area from the White Mountain Apache people to fuel this supposed alien abduction?
I mean, that's not the first time white man has culturally appropriated.
Oh, God. So interesting.
There's little bits like that are not really ever mentioned in these autobiographies, and that I feel like are huge clues to what would and wouldn't have happened.
That is very interesting to hear, because I didn't know that, to be honest. I didn't know that they were already UFO enthusiasts before this happened.
They were. And it's so funny because both of them still do podcasts, and Travis goes to every UFO convention.
Dude, Travis Walton was at the Fort McDowell Casino UFO convention a couple years ago.
I'm sure he was. And also, it's not just the whole contract thing. He has since said that he's experienced several UFO. This is like the first time it's happened, but that since then he's had many. There's a situation he described where he and his family were in their backyard, and there was a giant triangle ship flying above them. So again, like, is he really a target now for the aliens really don't like him, and they're just like, we're gonna fuck with this guy for the rest of his life?
Oh my God.
Or is he full of shit and wants to continue the story because it makes him a lot of money?
Interesting.
And it
makes him seem relevant.
A lot of money. Well, no, this whole thing makes him a shit ton of money. He gets paid big time for interviews. Pretty sure they sell merch. I mean, his book, the movie deal.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to continue that story?
Because, like, wasn't that even a line in the movie by the actual, like, big honcho sheriff? Is like,
yeah,
man, you're making a lot of money by just selling your life rights. I hope I'm getting these southern accents down.
We'll have to have Brian listen to it. The thing is, they're not even from the South. They're from northern Arizona.
Oh, right. Snowflakes. Snowflakian. I don't know what that sounds like.
Snowflakian. I don't know. They sounded like a bunch of Hollywood actors to me.
Yeah.
It's like a rural accent.
Definitely rural. I mean, I think it only feels natural with Robert Patrick.
Yeah. Well, he's just a good actor.
He's just a very good actor. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's it for trivia, really. I mean, I think it's just really funny that Henry Thomas was cast in this movie.
That is, yes.
I'm like,
different kind of alien.
But all right, should we get into final thoughts?
Let's do it.
All righty, what did you think of Fire in the Sky?
pretty much spilled the beans on how I feel about the movie. I think it is a great first time watch. Like, I'll probably never go back and watch the movie in full. I might show someone the alien scene or watch it at some point, but I think it's very dated, unfortunately, at this point. The music, just the style of storytelling, I feel like the tone is all over the place. You're going from sad to mystery to, is it a murder? Is it something supernatural? None of it doesn't all fit very well to me. It kind of just, I don't know. It's a good one-time watch, but if you look into it any more than just the basic amount of what you're seeing on screen, it falls apart. Especially when you start reading like the legit stuff, it kind of all like falls apart. I can just see the screenwriters like, oh, we got to figure out how to like make this more wholesome, and I don't know. It's an okay movie, I think. It is rightly regarded as a abduction classic, and I'm glad that we're ending it on it's a good movie, solidly made movie. For me, I just think it's a little bit too dated to enjoy as much as I used to.
Yeah, and I think maybe because you ultimately did choose the movies we selected this month. Were you kind of just like you said, Fire in the Sky, and you just instantly went back to the alien scene, right?
I did. I said when I was thinking of the movies to cover, when I was like, oh, Fire in the Sky, of course, because then I thought of that scene, and I forgot that it's wrapped. It's tucked in the middle of a 3-hour rural drama.
Who done it?
Who done it? Yeah, rural.
Well, I mean, I don't share the same sentiments as you, honestly. I didn't find it boring. I think it was it was interesting enough for me to still pay attention to it, even if it did come down. Again, I think you were right on some aspects. It did juggle a lot of genres. Action, it's horror, it's sci-fi, it's drama, it's a courtroom drama, it's a murder mystery. So, yeah.
It's a family drama.
I guess, I don't know. I guess the only rebuttal I have is that I didn't find it boring. I can see how people could think it is boring because, I mean, I'm definitely not going to say, oh yeah, Fire in the Sky is the scariest alien movie ever because, well, it's not anymore. I think I'd be like, yeah, watch that one scene because, yeah, it is pretty scary. But, remembering this whole movie as being utterly terrifying, yeah, not anymore. But it's still a great watch, I think. And it's funny because I would still pass this off as just a horror. I think it would, because this is I don't know, for some reason I'd rather have a drama with horror elements than say The Fourth Kind, a thriller with horror elements. If does that make sense?
Yeah, and I would agree. It just if the drama was good. Like if the drama part, the thing is, if the drama part of the movie was as enthralling as that 8-minute alien scene, like if it would change my feelings on it. It's just like I found the drama not to be engaging and the writing not to be engaging. It felt definitely like a procedural drama.
Yeah. The one thing I hate drama wise is going to be the Mike Rogers family drama.
Yeah.
That's the only part I find like forced. Like, oh, well, of course there's got to be drama. But I mean, honestly, again, I think it's where we're going to differ. I think all the procedural parts were intriguing enough for me to not even consider it to be boring. So,
well,
boo-hoo. Just say it. You're allowed to be wrong.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty obvious what our ratings are going to be. Out of 5 UFOs, what do you give Fire in the Sky?
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Oh,
is what I'm going to give it. Yeah, I mean, for me, if I don't know, like I said, maybe if it's your first time watching, you don't really know a whole lot about it. It's a good watch, but I'm never going to go back and watch this movie. It was too much of a slog for me, and the 2 most of that 2.5 is just to that 8 minutes of awesome alien action, but it just isn't enough for me to push this up to a 3 or 4 like I have been with the past couple. Because although the past couple movies might not be like as good of made of a movie, technical wise, I feel like they were much. I mean, except for Fourth Kind, where most of them were much more, and even in the Fourth Kind, much more engaging, at least like more entertaining to watch, whether or not it was bad. Where this movie just bored the fuck out of me.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it's been a while since we've had this much of a gap in our ratings, but I give Fire in the Sky 4 UFOs out of 5. And that that 1 point that would have made it a 5, half of that point was lost because of that music that I hate. Dun 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 dun. I'm like, I can't do it. And the family drama that I just felt I was not engaged was like, I don't care that you're fighting with your wife, you know?
Yeah.
It was more annoying than it was like, oh no, I should probably care, but I don't. Yeah.
Which is how I felt for the whole movie.
But I don't know, the alien stuff was there. I liked it. But and I think it was just fun to compare because I think that the Paranormal Witness episode is way more like fresh in my mind than this actual movie. So I think in my case, I was like, oh, this is like that, you know, things are happening that happen in real life based off of that episode in this movie. So I was like, But yeah, I think that just about finishes it for Fire in the Sky. Not that it was a bad movie, but I think we could have ended on a bigger movie, to be honest, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Dark Skies.
Yes, my mind always kept coming back to Dark Skies. I think that was definitely a missed opportunity, to be honest.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next if there's another Alien August.
Yeah, because of course,
Alien
there's
April or something.
yeah, there's more Alien movies out there for us to cover, both good and bad. So we'll get into that. But all right, I'm really excited to talk about this next part. Next week's movie. It's a new month, which means it's a new theme. For September, we'll be doing Serial Killer September. And our first movie we'll be covering will be the 2000 Jennifer Lopez mind trip film, The Cell, which, of course, I have a little synopsis here for you. So, an FBI agent persuades a social worker who is adept with a new experimental technology to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to learn where he has hidden his latest kidnap victim. So I think we'll have a lot to talk about with that movie, from a very controversial director to I think this will be the most visual movie we will have covered ever, I think.
Maybe. I have not seen this movie I can barely remember. I remember certain images, but cannot for the life of me. I couldn't give you a scene by scene or anything. So
yeah,
I'm excited to revisit this particular movie, and it's going to be a lot different than what we've been covering in the past couple months.
Yeah, because this is going to be, they've always explained it as like, what is it? Well, maybe not now, but maybe not back then, but now it'd be like Inception meets Seven, basically. So
yeah.
And I mean, it has been a very long time since I've seen it. I think the last time I saw it was like, I remember it was actually part of a group of DVDs we bought, like when DVD first became a thing. Like The Cell was like, oh yes, and it came like that clicky thing, and it opened up and it was like a cardboard thing. And not that I'm bringing this up just because it's funny, but like I remember like the first movies we bought were The Bone Collector, The Cell, and it's funny because, well, I think you'll know why it's funny, but the third movie we've ever owned was Stigmata. So I was just like, yeah. But yeah, join us next week as we get into September. Oh my gosh, Serial Killer September. We have a lot of great movies coming up for you. And just so you know, we have to choose a fifth movie because there are 5 Tuesdays in September. So I chose the first 4. The fifth one is on you.
Oh, okay. I'll start looking.
Okay. But all right, thanks for listening to us discuss Fire in the Sky. You can find us on all of the social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. posting about UFOs and all this jazz for this past month was very, very fun. So,
Doing serial killers.
oh my God, that is going to be,
content.
it's going to be so great. And
Crime
it's,
scene photos.
oof. And it's great because, I'm still watching Mindhunter, so that's still that very much fits in with serial killers. So that'll be fun. But yeah, if you want to listen to all of our old episodes, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes Podcast, Podbean, and our website. Just search The Final Gaze or visit www.thefinalgaze.com. You can see all of our posts.
Sounded like.
Oh my gosh, no, we're not bringing that back again, are we? Are we gonna have to sit for like a solid 2 minutes while someone laughs at it?
But maybe.
Not this time. No, you go to finalgaze.com. Well, that's a whole other story. Wink, wink. But, go to that website. We have bios, we have photos, we have a lot of things for you guys to look at there.
Well, until next time, my name is Toby.
And my name is Harrison, and we are the Final Gaze. We get like groaning vocals set off. I'm gonna start that again. We get like groaning vocals sets. It just sets to off. How the fuck what did I write? We get like groaning vocals set to. Oh, okay.
Do you have
All
a
right.
script?
I do. I'm reading this off, and I put an S after set, so it really fucked it up. Okay, we'll try that again. But like the one scene that really. Oh, you good? Oh, okay. Just making sure.
I was just looking at Bruce.
Oh, okay. And the one thing that I actually did hate drama-wise was just the whole. Excuse me. Excuse me. I wasn't even drinking either.